Ellah PLC, a listed agro-allied company, is currently in the market, offering its existing shareholders 1 billion ordinary shares at 2 naira 90 kobo each. The rights issue, already approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission, is the first of such market offerings since a new management took over at Ellah in recent times. Joining me now to discuss some facts behind the rights offering is the company's CEO, Chuka Mordi. Chuka, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Great. Well, let's begin with a broad overview and get some more insight into the rights issue. What should we know about this?
Well, we're offering 1 billion new shares at 2 naira 90 kobo each. But it's a rights issue, so we're raising funds primarily from shareholders of Ellah at the present time. There are going to be more equity issues going forward, but at the present time, this rights issue is restricted to current shareholders of Ellah PLC.
All right. I mean, that's quite monumental.
Well, it was always in the pipeline to do this. The plan when we took over as new management was first to deleverage the company. We made a significant number of shareholder loans and it was insolvent. So we had recapitalized the company using shareholder loans. So the next step to do was essentially to move to raising new equity. So this is the first step in raising new equity since we took over. We applied to SEC and got our permission from AGM. We called an AGM for that last year. We finally got the SEC approval 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty much full steam ahead. It opened yesterday on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. It's on for the next few weeks, and we expect it to be pretty successful.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to there as well. But, you know, talking about new management, I want to talk, we've seen a change of guards at Ellah in recent times.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the achievements over the course of a 24-month period so far.
Well, we've had a fairly comprehensive change of the guard. We have a new board, entirely new management, new chief agronomist, and new management who have a lot of significant experience in agribusiness and the industry. In the period since in the last 24 months, we've consolidated on our land bank. So we have 2,400 hectares in Edo State. We're expanding on that. We've purchased a mill, a 5-ton mill, which is being installed as we speak. So it's been held up for a variety of reasons, community issues, CBN issues, but we had the installation start a few months ago. So we expect by Q1 next year, we should be at least processing palm oil at the start of the year. We've also acquired land in Ondo State, 5,000 hectares, and we've also acquired Ada Rice in Enugu State. So Ada Rice is just over 3,000 hectares producing rice, and we intend to expand the operation. The current footprint is about 1,000 hectares being cultivated by outgrowers, and we want to expand that significantly. We've also gone into a joint venture with the IITA, the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture in Ibadan. So we've had a trial where we've tried out a new strain of soya bean. That's been quite successful. So during the next planting season, we will be expanding the footprint of Ada Rice to cultivate not just rice, but also soya bean, non-GM soya bean in Enugu State. So in a nutshell, that's what we've done over the last 24 months. We've engaged with a few multilateral institutions. We're currently in discussions with the AFDB on our staple crop processing zone strategy going forward. So the focus is on trying to optimize the current operations and then just get efficiency across the board.
Well, it sounds like a lot happening.
Quite
a bit is happening, as one would expect, and that's quite exciting. But of course, talking about the agribusiness space, it's quite broad. There's a lot of potential for the future. But let's talk about some of your findings in terms of some of the challenges within that space and how you as a company look to address and mitigate them for the future.
I mean, there are a variety of local challenges, which, you know, from inflation to community issues, to trying to get adequate materials for the business, which, you know, I think face everyone else in the country. We've had some issues with community relations, which require a lot of diplomacy and a lot of groundwork. So that's been very, very challenging. But that's across the board in every state we've worked in. So these are just, you know, facts of business that one has to deal with. The exchange rate has not been very helpful. So any aspect of our raw materials that's imported, materials, hardware has been impacted significantly. So the costs have gone up significantly. Because
how much of a challenge would you say that is in relation to the other existing challenges, the foreign exchange issue?
I mean, look, obviously the foreign exchange issue it affects everyone, except people who have no reliance on imported goods. But I think if you live in Nigeria, you don't have a choice whether or not you directly import anything. The fact that we don't refine any diesel or petrol locally means everything is imported. So the inflationary aspect of that feeds into every aspect of the economy. So even people who don't necessarily need to import, if you have a car, you're reliant on refined products which are imported. So that's just the nature of things. So we try to deal with those challenges as best as we can. But I think everyone has received a significant impact from that, and just trying to manage them and hope that the macro picture going forward improves and we can see some stability going forward. I mean, inflation has gone up significantly, but if it levels out going forward, then we expect that the business environment should improve.
Right. I mean, that's a very optimistic outlook, and that's what we all expect to see, right? It's what we all aim to see. But let's talk about your shareholders. Of course, exciting times, you have the rights issue. What's the response to that been so far?
I mean, obviously, it only opened yesterday, but throughout the application to SEC, we've had a sensitization process with a variety of our large shareholders. So we expect that most of our shareholders will take up their rights. We expect it to be successful. It's a combination of raising new equity financing, but also deleveraging the company. So we're converting a lot of shareholder debt into equity. So we expect it to be quite successful. We're very confident and optimistic about it. Right.
And of course, a question some love and some hate. When do you expect to pay a dividend?
Not a question we hate at all. We have no problems with that question. I mean, obviously, they're forward-looking statements that are guided by our regulators and our listed status. But I fully expect, and I'm very confident that we should be paying a dividend by next year.
Okay, so that's very promising.
Well, we have 2,000 shareholders, and I like to think that we should, at the very least, try to make the 2,000 people that we're responsible for a few things happy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, in wrapping up, what's the outlook for the future in terms of where Ellah is going? What would you like to see? What can we expect over the next year?
Well, I think two things. One, scale. We want to scale up significantly. Our land bank is close to 10,000 hectares now. We started out with just 2,400 2.5 years ago. So I think we've achieved to some degree what we wanted to do, which was scale up the business significantly. And then the next thing is to optimize our operations and introduce efficiency. And I think once we do that, we're building a significant agribusiness that is optimized for the future and making profits to pay significant dividends to shareholders.
When you talk about optimizing, is that targeted towards Nigeria? Is that
at the present time, yes.
To the market?
Yes. At the present time, modern agricultural practices, helping our outgrowers increase their yields, planting new strains of rice and soya and palm oil, which is what we're focusing on, and just trying to increase our margins and make the operations that we're engaged in a lot more efficient. And that's what we're focused on at the present time, in the short to medium term.
All right, very promising and exciting times. Many thanks, Chuka Mordi, for joining us this evening on the Rise Exchange. Many thanks for that.